morning, everyone, and welcome to today's exciting virtual event on how to find great real estate deals. Hosted only here on StreamYard, we're also live on Facebook and YouTube. So, welcome and hello. I am Sophia, your host from the Real Estate IQ marketing team, and I'm all thrilled to have you all join us here today for what promises to be an insightful and action packed session. Today, before we start, I would like to introduce ourselves. We are Real Estate IQ, and we are a lead generation company that offers many solutions to your real estate needs. So whether you're looking for education, for leads, for a community to be part of, to help you get through your deals, win your first deal, then you've come to the right place. And we're so excited to have you here with us. So, again, today we will dive into the world of real estate investing with none other than our speaker for today, Steve Liang. He's one of the co founders of Real Estate IQ, and he is a powerhouse in the real estate industry. He's a speaker, a mentor, and also an innovator, and he's a leader, again, in the real estate scene. And he's here to share his proven strategies for uncovering high potential real estate opportunities. So, without further ado, I want to welcome to the stage Steve. Hello, Steve. Hi.
Hello, how's
Hello.
everybody doing? Welcome, and let's get started. Okay. Well, first of all, I want to congratulate you for joining us and learn how you can take control of your investment and your financial future. So, we're probably all here because we know real estate investment it can be very lucrative if you know how to do it, right? The key words are how do we do it? And you probably personally know somebody who has invested in real estate and have made a big gain over time. They have made big profits, or they have built a substantial wealth through real estate. So the question is, how do we get into this real estate game? So we're going to learn a lot about the game and how do we make big profits. What are the ways to make these big profits? And a lot of details of how we do it. So first of all, a couple of success stories just to kind of show how lucrative real estate investment can be. Here we have a success story. I believe it's in Dallas. We're looking at $46,000 of profit. This is in Carrollton, which is, I believe, it's in Dallas County, the part of Carrollton that's in Dallas County. The other one is in Dallas, $85,000 in profit. Some people make that much in a year, right? In a yearly salary, or maybe some are, it could be an aspirational number for some folks. So in just one deal, you can potentially make this much. So the natural question is, how do I find these deals and how can I make money from these deals? So we're going to talk about all these, and we're going to dive in detail today. So my promise to you is that at the end of this webinar, you'll understand how you can find great deals. You understand the formula that you use to identify the deals. From a kind of experience standpoint, if you're a new investor, this is a really good place. You can get knowledge and get it started. Actually, we just had a last module and a couple of questions that we have, which is about, how do I make sure that I'm giving an offer, or am I gonna figure out what is a good deal? So we'll be addressing that. And if you're an experienced investor, you want to know how to generate leads and you want to look for new ways to find deals and generate leads, this would be a really good place too. From an exit strategy, finding deals is the start of everything, right? Lead generation. So wholesale, fix and flip, buy and hold, it all applies. So just a reminder, I have found that turning off notification and distraction is a big part of productivity and focus. And so just want to encourage you to do that. And also use the chat to introduce yourself. I have found that the folks that get connected and stay connected during classes, they tend to do more business over time together. And so make sure you're taking advantage. You're already here. We are spending the time here. So just make the most out of your time in this class. Okay, so make quality connections. So disclaimer, we show this in all our webinars, is that, this is for educational purposes only, right? Make sure you always do your due diligence before making any investment decisions. We don't offer any advice in investment, financial, or legal. All right, a little bit of background. I'm an executive partner of Real Estate IQ, and over the years, I think just through doing and building the business, I would say my strength is probably more in the marketing side and the data side. My background is in science and engineering, and I was always interested in real estate. And I have family who have, I guess, thrived back in the days in real estate. So I always thought, okay, how do I get into real estate? Because if you're doing the right thing in real estate, you can generate a lot of cash flow, and it could be a really good way of making a good living and also making a difference in your community. The problem I found was that in real estate, it's hard to find knowledge. Just in real estate in general, I remember buying my first property as a homestead. I learned a lot from the real estate agent that I was working with. But it's very hard to find that information online or elsewhere. Even to today, it's still difficult, and it's harder for real estate investments. Right? It's a kind of niche place. You got to know where to look for it, and you're in the right place because you found it. I also found that for data and technology, it's hard to do that, find that for real estate investments. It's been getting a little bit better, but I think there's still a way to go. And also, it's hard to find mentors and fellow entrepreneurs to connect with, especially during the COVID time. We were kind of segregated socially, and it was just difficult to connect with people. So that's why we established Real Estate IQ to bring the knowledge, right? Webinars, classes. We also have paid workshops that you can take advantage of, and where we do deep dive in certain topics like fix and flip or buy and hold type of strategies. Real Estate IQ, our core product, is the deal finding data, so you can use it for your lead generation purposes. And finally, we are here to establish a community, right, to really kind of offer the support, because sometimes you got the knowledge, you got the tools and the data, but there are places where we just we get stuck. Sometimes it's a very, very small thing, but if we don't know how to do it, we just don't know. And so having that mentor and coaches that we can easily connect with and ask for help, I find that tremendously valuable. I have certainly benefited from that myself. Sometimes it's just like, okay, how do I fill out this section of a contract? If you've never done it before, you just don't know. And having somebody that walk you through it is just so valuable. Very, very appreciative of all the help I have personally got. And so we also want to offer that to you. All right, so that's kind of the background of real estate investments, and what we're looking at, what we're offering. And so now let's dive into the real estate deals, right? What are great real estate deals? Okay, so we have like two main agenda today. One is the business model, and a business model basically is how do you make money, right? How can you basically build a business, and how does this business make money through real estate? And I think when we can certainly look at a real estate deal and go, oh yeah, I'm making a profit off of one deal. But my question back to you would be, is that repeatable, right? If it's a business model, it is by definition, it's repeatable. and it can consistently make money and generate sales and revenue for your business. The second one is we're gonna talk about the different sources of where we can find the deals, and I will also give you kind of a little bit of insider tips of where the deals are. All right. So in terms of business model, the three main strategies are buy and hold, which means you buy the property, you hold it as a rental, and you become a landlord basically. And the tenant's gotta be paying you rent on a monthly basis. And this business requires the most amount of capital because you need to put down the cash in order to hold the property. Now there are ways to kind of build up that equity very quickly, called the Burr method. And we may or may not touch that today. But in general, when you're buying or holding a property, you need the most capital because of the down payment that you got to put down. The second strategy is called fix and flip. You buy it, you fix it up. Now you added value to the property, what we called forced appreciation. So we buy it at this price, we fix it up, we force it to appreciate at this value, and now we can sell it to a retail buyer, and we can make a profit in that difference. And then the third strategy is a wholesale. It's called wholesaling, which means you find this property and then you can sell it to another investor. And typically the investor would either be looking for a property for buy and hold or fix and flip. So your buyer, in this case, you're buying as a wholesaler, you're buying it from the motivated seller, and then you immediately sell it to a what we call an investor buyer or professional buyer, because they are kind of constantly looking for houses where it makes sense for their buy and hold or fix and flip business model. It's very important to talk about this here, is that when you're in the buy and hold business, you are in the landlord business. So you may, let's say you want to do the property management yourself, you would kind of gear towards your business system on looking at tenants, right? Dealing with the tenants, communicating with the tenant, leasing the property, and so on and so forth. You'll be focusing a lot on that. With fix and flip, you would be kind of in the construction business, right? You're buying the property, you're gonna fix it up, right? You're gonna do a lot of things on that property itself to force the appreciation. So let's say you do quite a few of these flips at the same time, you're basically running a construction business. And then finally, in wholesale, well, you are going to be interacting with a lot of motivated sellers. And on the other side, you're going to be interacting with a lot of professional or investor buyers. Well, you're kind of in that marketing and sales business. Okay, so those are kind of the focus that you're going to be in as you kind of decide what business model it is. And some people use a hybrid business model where they focus on two or all three of these strategies in part of their business. And so just want to kind of break that down for you so you are aware. In terms of capital, I already talked about buy and hold needing the most in general, because you need to put the money down. Fix and flip, it's going to require less personal capital if you borrow money from a hard money lender or a private money lender, which is what a lot of fix and flippers do. Now, in order to get funding and financing, the lender usually wants to see that you have some skin in the game. They want to see that you have enough liquidity to at least pay the monthly interest payment for this short-term loan for this fix and flip project. We have had a couple of lenders coming on our platform and really talk about it. I specifically ask about the liquidity type of requirement. And then for wholesale, in general, it doesn't need much capital at all for the property itself. Maybe you need some transactional funding to help with the transaction to happen. You will probably spend most of your money in lead generation and marketing systems. Okay, those can add up, but in general, it requires a lot less personal capital. This is a very popular strategy for folks that are just getting started or they're young. They don't have a lot of cash right now because in wholesaling you don't need a lot of money to get started. And typically you get 7,000. I've heard an average deal you can make about $10,000 just by finding the property, putting it under contract, and then turning around and selling it to a professional buyer. So now let's look at some numbers. Okay, for buy and hold, a very important rule of thumb is called the 1% rule. And we always use the 1% to calculate the offer price, okay, for single family properties. So the 1% rule basically says that if I buy this property and I can rent it out for 1% of how much I buy on a monthly basis, then it would be a good deal. So it's just a very kind of rudimentary, preliminary rule, general rule of thumb, right? Because when I see a house that's say $150,000, I go, okay, can I rent it out for $1,500 a month? Right? It's a very easy way to kind of run the calculation. Now, in order to make it fit, right, to come up with that offer price that fits a 1% rule, we just need to do a little bit of kind of that manipulation where let's say I can find out what the market rent is, the market rent is, and let's say in this case, it's $2,500 a month, right? So in a big metro area, $2,500 can be very normal, or maybe even on the lower end. In the more rural area, this rent can be a little more than people are used to paying. So it all depends on your local area. So let's say the rent is $2,500. So I multiply that by 100, right? Because I want that 1%. And so now I come up with a number which is 250,000. And now let's say I need to fix up this house, and it's gonna cost $20,000 to put paint, a new carpet, all that stuff in place. Then when we subtract that from the 250, then I would know that my distress offer is $230,000. So in other words, if I kind of go from the bottom to the top, is if I buy at 230, I add the repair cost. So now my entire kind of out of pocket or entire spend is 250,000. So then if I can rent it out for 2,500 a month, then it's a good deal, right? I can cover everything. Now, obviously, if I can buy it at less than 230,000, that's even better. But I want that 1% I want it to meet that 1%, so I'm in a good place. So the next slide, we're going to talk about that 2,500, kind of break it down a little bit to go, okay, this is why we need that 2,500 to be a decent deal. Another thing to kind of to look at here is that I put a wholesale fee here of $0. So for a wholesaler, right? Let's say I'm trying to sell it to a buy and hold investor. Well, I know the investor is gonna offer at most 230. That means if I want to make $10,000 here, then when I buy it directly from the seller, I want to mark it down by another 10,000. So I will offer 220,000 and make my 10K, and then the buy and hold investor will enter at 230 plus the rehab, and then that's how all that math will work out. All right. I think I will have some further examples in there. Okay, so this is just an example. Okay, so for that $2,500 per month, it needs to go somewhere. We are not pocketing where we cannot pocket everything, but it makes sure that we have enough monthly cash flow to make this worthwhile. So in this example, right, let's say the mortgage is $1,200. Right, there's also property taxes, there's insurance, there's HOA and maintenance and all that stuff. So when we subtract everything, then a monthly cash flow is $575 on a monthly basis. So that would be a good example, right? Because we already factor in that 1% rule. Now I have a cool monthly cash flow, just sitting there and kind of making money for me. A couple of things that you want to kind of pay a little more attention to when we go a little bit deeper is that if you hire a property manager, they're going to take some of that cash flow. And then if there's some repairs, maintenance, again, we kind of have this already accounted for here in this calculation. But when we're talking about $500, $600 on a monthly cash flow, that's a pretty good deal. So imagine you have not just one, but 10 of these, right? So if I have 10 of these houses, then I'll be making $5,750 a month, which is about $69,000 a year. If it's 20 houses, it's 138,000. So that's a really good way to kind of make money, letting your properties working for you. Not to mention that your mortgage here, there is a part that pays the interest of the mortgage that's tax deductible, and then there's a part that goes towards the principal, which builds up your equity. So there's also, in addition to kind of that cash flow, there's also kind of additional benefits in the buy and hold. And like I said, you're in the landlord business. You either be working with a property manager or you're going to be property managing yourself, dealing directly with tenants, and you'll be paying a lot of attention about getting the place leased at all times, right? The vacancy can kill your profits. So you want to make sure that you have a good occupancy. You want to make sure the place is leased and constantly producing and generating cash flow. So vacancy and tenant quality are typically the two key things that you want to watch out for, because if you don't, it can eat up your profits. Okay. And we have, I personally have had experience where vacancy takes away, it's like a property sitting vacant for like 5 months, and now, for the year you get a loss. Okay, so really kind of pay attention to it. So really stress that buy and hold is a great wealth generator. So if you can find a good deal, you can afford to hold on to it. Many things are working for you to help you build wealth. Number one is the cash flow. We just kind of talk about that. The second one is that you have appreciation, and it can hedge against inflation. You have the natural appreciation, which is the property value naturally goes up. On average, I have heard from a builder that in the United States, since the I forgot, maybe like for the past 70 years or something, don't quote me on that. The entire United States, on average, has been appreciating by 3% per year. And that's the entire United States. Some metro area where it's growing faster, maybe doubling that. So you might have seen your property, if you have been holding properties, that the value has doubled in like 10 years, right? We have that rule of 72 to come with that. If it doubles in 10 years, then you're looking at about like 6%, 7% of yearly appreciation. So that's natural appreciation. I kind of talked about the forced appreciation, which is you're actively like fixing up the property to bring it to the market value. So if you bought it at a good price, you force it to appreciate, and now it's worth more. So that's two things working for you. Natural appreciation, more passive, right? As the market goes up, you go up. Forced appreciation is more active. You fix it up and you bring up the value. You also have tax savings, right? You got depreciation, taxes can be written off. You can also write off operational expenses in the property. And then finally, I kind of talked about that, which is the loan pay down, right? So as you pay more and more towards the principal, your equity gets built up, and then now you own the property, say outright, and And now, every single month you just have free cash flow, basically, that you don't have to pay any more mortgage of if it's already paid off. So you have like kind of four main things working for you when you do buy and hold, which is a fantastic way to build wealth slowly through real estate. A lot of people love that. All right, so next let's talk about the fix and flip. And in fix and flip, we do the 70% rule. So that's another rule of thumb, right? So we talk about 1% rule of thumb. I kind of talk about the rule of 72, which I didn't really go into too much detail. We can deep dive into that another time. The second main rule is the 70% rule. Okay, so for the 70% rule, you use the 70% rule to calculate the offer price. So what that means is, well, I want to only put in as much as 70% into the property because I need that 30% to pay for all my other costs and still make a profit. That's basically what it is. So if I know what the after repair value, which is the market value after the house is all fixed up, if I know it's $500,000, I take 70% of that, and that would give me 350,000. And let's say in this example, the repair budget is going to cost $70,000. So we subtract all that stuff, and our distress offer would be 280,000. I talked about the 30%, so let me give you an example of what the other 30% could be. In this example, okay, so 30% of the 500,000 is 150K, but we don't pocket all of that. Okay, there's also all kinds of costs that goes into the just cost of doing business, and but we'll still be looking at a decent enough profit. Okay, so in this case, there's closing cost, there is holding, right? So every day there is insurance. There is utilities, water. There is I guess the interest cost, daily interest cost is part of the financial cost. So all of those kind of adding up will. So you as a fix and flipper, you want to manage your cost, and I think in general is by reducing your holding costs by making sure that your project doesn't run a long time, because the longer it takes, you're going to have a higher holding cost, and then your financial cost is going to be more as well if you got the funding from either private lender or hard money lender. But then you still have a very decent sized profit at the end of the day, and that's a short term gain. It's a fantastic return for just one project. So if you just do one or two projects at this kind of a number on a yearly basis, that's already a pretty good place you want to be. Obviously, if you do one per quarter, now you might be making more than a regular salary. Okay, now remember I said for the fix and flip business, you are in the construction business, which means that a lot of your attention should be in the rehabbing of the property, and you need to make sure the rehab budget or the rehab project stays on time and on budget, right? And you're not compromising too much on quality either. You want to have good quality so you can actually sell it. And so cost overrun and project delays can eat up this profit. Lastly, we have the wholesale business. Wholesale, again, it's very popular. It doesn't need a lot of capital to get started. You acquire the distressed property directly from the motivated seller, and then you can sell it to an investor. And now that said, we have clients that also are using our data because they wanted to go directly to the motivated seller, right? You're saving the wholesale cost to you don't have to pay a wholesaler, but now you're also kind of adding that marketing operations in your business to acquire deals. So you're in the marketing business. If you're a wholesaler, you'll be paying a lot of attention in marketing and acquiring the property, and also disposition, right? Because you gotta know your your client, which is your investor, the investor that's going to buy your property. And so you're going to kind of basically you acquire the property from the motivated seller, and then you're going to match it with the investor that fits in their buy box. This is, let's see. A lot of investors start out kind of buying deals from the wholesalers, and then over time, as they gain more experience, they go, well, maybe I can do my own marketing, and I can reduce my cost of acquisition, and they can basically you're acquiring the property directly from the motivated sellers. And it could be a really good strategy if you want to control your deal flow, because now you can manage your pipeline. You can kind of predict how many deals you can get on a regular basis. And you don't have to kind of acquire the deal from somebody else and maybe kind of compete with another investor to buy the deal. You can also kind of pick and choose the best deals to keep for yourself. And then, you can wholesale to, say, another investor. Okay, so just really quickly, kind of the math of as a wholesaler, what you would make. If you recall the example that I had before, the distress offer was $230 if I'm a buy and hold investor. But as a wholesaler, because I want to make that $10,000 fee, I would drop that distress offer a little bit more to kind of make that wholesale fee. And kind of the value that I bring to the market in this case would be finding the deal, putting it under contract, and then the buy and hold investor can still make their profit, so everybody wins. And then on the other case, for selling it to a fix and flip investor, I can mark a wholesale fee. In this case, I put $20K in here, and it's really about what the market is willing to bear. So let's say I can put, if I want to charge 10,000, okay, then I would offer at 230. Excuse me, 270. If I want to make $20,000, I would offer it at 260. Right? It's the most important thing to know is that I know at 280,000 it makes sense for a fix and flip investor, and so how much I make is going to be between that and how much the seller is willing to accept as an offer. Okay, so another side I want to offer is just another perspective is that let's say I'm the fix and flip investor, right? And I'm doing this marketing myself. Well, instead of offering 260, I can offer up to 280,000. So I'm going to be more likely to win the deal if I'm competing with a wholesaler, and because I can offer more money. And so I have a little bit of an edge if all things are being equal. So that's also why some of our fix and flip and buy and hold clients, they wanted to do the marketing themselves because they're more likely to win the deal because they don't need to make the wholesale fee. Okay, so to recap kind of this first half of the webinar, buy and hold, you're in the landlord business, you need the most capital to get started. And maybe right now is a good time to say that there's a way, let's say you're buying a distressed property that needs to be rehabbed. The strategy is called a BRRRR method, BRRRR. You buy, you rehab, you rent it out, and then you refinance, and then you repeat. So when you're doing that, then it requires less kind of personal capital to do the buy and hold. So pay attention to that BRRRR strategy. We have material that talks about what BRRRR is. We actually have an ebook about BRRRR, and you're welcome to look for that and download that on our website. The fix and flip business, okay, you're in the construction business. You're going to be managing contractors. You're going to be looking for the project, making sure it's on time, it's on budget, and you can sell the finished product at the after repair value. Okay, and then wholesale, you're in the marketing business. It's about how many leads you can reach out to, and also closing the deal, and then turning around and finding a buyer for this particular property. So you can make your wholesale fee. All right. Okay. Here is the secret. Okay, this is I wouldn't say a more important part, but this is certainly a really important part, which is what are the secrets of finding great deals, right? All the business model talk is great, right? But how do we put that into action? How do we find the deals? Because when I find the deal, I can make the profit. So it's all about finding that deal. And experienced investors, we know that money is made when you acquire the property at a good price. When you are able to get the property and there's enough equity in the deal, right? There's enough, if it's at a good price, it wouldn't be hard to find funding. It wouldn't be hard to find a partner and get everything done. So, everything starts from finding a great deal. And the secret of finding and acquiring great deals is having motivated sellers. It's about finding and locating the people that motivate to sell for whatever life reason it is. And I would say that in general, there's a need for immediate cash, for one reason or another. And we'll talk about the different life reasons. All right, life happens, and because of that, they are in some form of financial distress. And because real estate is not liquid, in order for them to sell quickly to address the life situation, they tend to need to accept a lower price than what the market is going for, so they can sell quickly. And I think I'm just gonna leave it at that. There's so much more I can talk about. Okay, so the concept is called live data, and live data is basically a signal of something that's happening in the person's life. And life happens like every day, everywhere, right? And life happens to all of us. It's universal. Every day, new babies are born, and some people every day, some people die. So every day, some people get married, some people get divorced, and sometimes they get into financial trouble. And so if you kind of start thinking about the stage in someone's life as they grow up, have kids, get married, have kids, stay in the marriage or get divorced, they get old. There are stages in their life where they're more likely to buy something, sell something, and so on and so forth. So if we can kind of really capture that information, capture that data, capture that life-changing events is what I call it. And for those who have have been on Earth for a couple of decades, you probably have personally gone through life-changing events. Sometimes moving from one place to another can be a big life-changing event for some people. You agree that life events are so powerful that many times all we can do is kind of play catch up and deal with it, deal with life. So imagine that if you are a marketer, right? How valuable that data is, because when I know that data, I know kind of in general what they need. And so if I know this person is about to get married, I can kind of predict that maybe they're already looking to buy another house, or in a couple of years, they're going to be upsizing, and then they're going to want to buy another house and probably move from, let's say they were living in the city before, they're going to want to move to a bigger place in the suburbs. And so, just kind of in general, in theory, right, the different products and services that you can offer them is tremendous, right? So to find motivated seller, we want to get our hands on some aspects of their live data that tells us that, hey, they want to sell. So first of all, they should be owning real estate, right? And then there should be some kind of financial distress or motivation to sell. And they need to sell really fast in order to get out of a bad situation. And we'll talk about the different motivations shortly. And that's actually the next slide. Okay, so we'll talk about the different motivation, and I call it the different sources of motivated seller. Okay, so the different type of live data that matters in real estate and for real estate investors. And you can imagine like this is the kind of data that also makes sense for a real estate agent. If you're in the listing world, you're looking for folks that are motivated to sell. Now, some you can help as a listing agent. Some are a little bit harder to help. Say it's like a foreclosure and they get foreclosed very quickly. It's much harder to sell, truthfully in the MLS market because they just need to sell quickly. Okay, so the first one is the pre-foreclosure. Okay, because their house is about to get foreclosed. They're about to lose their house in an upcoming foreclosure. And it could be next month, it could be a month from now, and all that. We want to know what the auction date is on the property. A lot of investors, they love this list. It's actually one of our kind of most popular lists because these motivated sellers, they're in a desperate situation where they need to sell really fast. So for pre-foreclosure, you're reaching them because before their house hits the auction, and you can directly negotiate with the buyer. Let's see. So a couple of experience I can share is we had a candid REI kind of joining us and sharing how they market to the foreclosure pre-foreclosure list, and their approach, which I find is much better too, is that obviously you can just approach them and go, hey, you want to sell your house. And you may get a lot of bad words and hostility thrown back at you because, in a normal circumstance, who would want to sell their homestead, right? Some people want to, and then they welcome that conversation. Some people may not want to. And I have found what has been useful has been that if we position ourselves as their advocate, we can position us as, because most people don't want to go through the foreclosure. They want to stop the foreclosure. And so a really good approach that I found useful is to create the mindset, right? First of all, having the mindset and also having marketing material that helps them stop their foreclosure. And be a resource for them. Kind of go through the different ways that they can potentially stop their foreclosure, build that trust. And maybe there are times where you go through that and they don't need to go through the foreclosure anymore. For example, just last month, we had a tax foreclosure prospect, and I was able to reach out and reach him kind of on a Thursday. No, it was a Friday right before the auction. The auction is going to happen the next Tuesday. And they needed to figure something out. Otherwise, the house is going to go into foreclosure. And he says, you may hear this a lot. They go, I'm waiting to hear back from my attorney, or I'm waiting to hear back from the court or something. Well, on that Friday, you only have one more business day, which is Monday. And then the next one is that auction Tuesday. So they don't have a lot of time. We were able to connect them with somebody that, with an attorney that ended up helping them pause that foreclosure and kind of solve that problem so they don't have to sell the house. And we didn't gain anything from that lead. But the good thing is we were able to help them. And when you're in business, you just gotta be willing to kind of pay forward. And if we do enough, if we add enough value to the market, sometimes we win something, sometimes we may not win it right away, but there are times that it will come back. So, and a lot of our kind of experienced investors, we like to kind of embrace that mindset because, I think it just feels good to help folks that are in need to kind of solve their problem. And there's always a percentage where they kind of get to a point where they go, okay, I have gone through everything. There's no other option. I have to sell to someone. And if we have been just so valuable and we are able to build that trust, we're gonna kind of be that person to acquire that property. And I really prefer to be in that position than trying to take advantage of someone else's situation. Okay. From a pricing standpoint, these lists are not cheap. They're about $80, $90 per county. So to cover a metro area, you may need put $200 to $300, sometimes maybe even upwards of more than $300 on a monthly basis. And you don't have to mine this information, right? This is kind of public information, to be honest. But you don't need to spend all that time to find the information and do the research that you need. $200 to $300 is actually a really good price to get into this. So for Real Estate IQ, we have a disruptive pricing that we'll be sharing kind of at the end of this webinar, just to make sure that we are offering really, really awesome data to help you get started and find success in the real estate investment game. All right, the next one is called the appointment of substitute trustee. And what this is that a lot of savvy investors, they like to reach out to the property owner before they hit the foreclosure list. And when we look at the foreclosure process, what happens is when a lender wants to start the foreclosure process, a national lender will typically name a local trustee before filing for foreclosure, before filing for that foreclosure paperwork. So the appointment of substitute trustee is de facto a signal that the house is going to go into foreclosure. So that's why we call it a pre-foreclosure. By targeting these homeowners, what you do is you get more time to market to them and build trust. And it could potentially give you a leg up over your competition. You could be the first person that reaches out to somebody that is going to eventually go into foreclosure. We have a very popular class. It's called The Secret of Building an Endless Deal Flow, that focuses on how to put together a marketing campaign and building a consistent pipeline for deals. And if you are interested in kind of, building, learning more about marketing and nurturing leads and all that, which is, very fitting to this type of leads, I would highly recommend that class. Okay, next we have probate. So heirship and guardians are all kind of related to this category. So what happens is if someone owns real estate property and they pass away, and they will end up leaving the property to their heirs. And if there is a will in place, it will go into probate. If there's no will in place, it will go into an affidavit of heirship. And when it comes to kind of the handling of the estate, well, the house is an inheritance, right? Maybe there are a couple of potential motivations. It could be that there's enough equity in the house. They just want to cash out and kind of pay for other things in their life. It could be that the house is sitting there, it's not generating money right now, right? It's vacant. Grass is growing. It's a headache to maintain the property. It could also be where there is a estate tax that needs to get paid. So they will end up needing to liquidate the real estate property in order to pay for all the taxes and expenses that has to do with dealing with the estate. This is a very, very lucrative type of lead, and the market is about $3. Some may even charge $5 for every one lead, because they're so lucrative. A lot of experienced investors, they love probate because there tend to be a lot of equity in the house. It could be where the house has already fully paid off, or they have been paid off for so many years, they have been paying down the principal for so many years that there's a very small amount of loan that's still being owed, and there's just a lot of equity in the property. And when it comes to the heirs, a lot of times they just want to cash out. They don't really care about maximizing the how much they can get on the market, and they would just sell it to an investor. Now, obviously, different cases are different. There are some heirs they want to sell it on the market as an estate sale, and you know, because at the end of the day, they want to kind of maximize how much they can make out of it. So, but anyway, the probate can be extremely lucrative. Another very popular one is evictions. So, if a landlord needs to evict a tenant, it usually has already caused a lot of financial a loss for the landlord. The tenant may have ripped the house apart before they get evicted. So these landlord may be just like, hey, I I bought another house and I didn't want to sell this house, so I turned this into a rental property. But I didn't know how much work it takes to be a good landlord, and I'm just tired of dealing with this loss. I know of a lot of professionals, say they're in accounting or they're CPAs. They just don't love being a landlord, and so they just want to exit, and that's also a very good motivation to purchase the property from them. And another potential scenario is it's a landlord that has a portfolio. This is a professional landlord, and they just want to cash out and they retire. And that's also a really good opportunity for you. Another one is divorce. They need to get cash out. There could be pending lawsuits. There could be something that forces them to one of the party to sell the property. Maybe they just need to sell it and kind of split up, and so they're also very motivated to sell. There could be some bitterness and hostile situation where they're not looking for a fair compensation, but maybe there are emotions where they just don't want good things to happen to the other party. Like there are bad divorce situations, and so those could be opportunities for investors too. All right. There are, some additional motivations. They're not as strong, and you don't have like a super desperate seller like the previous ones. Right. Foreclosure is like the most desperate, most motivated type of situation. So if you see delinquent taxes, that's a property tax situation, and so that's usually a signal that they are in financial hardship at the very least. And then obviously, if you're in a tax foreclosure side, they're going to foreclosure. They owe property taxes, and now they're going to foreclosure. That's also a very motivating situation. And then you have kind of some other signals. You have a tall grass code, right? If you don't maintain your grass and your lawn and the grass grows really tall, well, the city may come and write you up, and then now you have a tall grass code violation. Maybe there's an exposed roof, bad roof, place is unsafe. Maybe nobody lives there, and so those also it's either that they cannot keep up with the property, or it's a vacant property, and so these code violations are also very good distress signals. Okay, last but not least, there are also more signals, but like these are kind of the major ones. The last categories I will share with you is the liens. So if you owe Uncle Sam money, right? If you have an IRS lien or a mechanics lien, is usually kind of placed when there's a contractor or subcontractor. They place a lien on the property itself. They didn't get paid, or there's a big hospital bill and the hospital puts the lien on the property. So all those are kind of the liens that gets put on the property, which is also a signal for a stressful situation. So this is where kind of we talk about, okay, we can if they're not super distressed, maybe we can use a nurturing campaign to build trust and see how we can help and purchase their property. And also another technique that savvy investors do is they do what's called list stacking. So they got all of these couple of lists, and then they go, okay, which property or owner is on multiple lists? Because if they have multiple situation, distress situation, then they're more likely to want to sell. They have more reasons. And so that's also a really cool technique to make your marketing more effective. Okay, so we have just a few minutes left, and I'm just gonna run down this a little bit faster now. Common question: motivate seller list. Do I buy it myself? Do I buy it, or do I do it myself? Do I mine it? If you know how to get the court papers and files, you can do it yourself, and some investors do that. I think if you want to be smart, you want to outsource it first. I might have talk about this in my other classes. You may want to outsource it first, and then because you want to learn how the sausage gets made and like learn how it works. You may want to, when the time comes and you have some time, you may want to learn how to do it just so you can appreciate what a good list looks like. But in general, the value, because it doesn't cost that much for this motivated seller lead list, we generally recommend our clients and our members to outsource this, buy the list, and focus your time and energy in marketing and outreach, right? Doing cold calls or do driving, door knocking, what we call door knocking, on these motivated seller list. Okay. I would say that for low value activities, right, you want to outsource as much as possible. Okay, so foreclosure, showing you how you can do it. You can Google your county name and then put notice of sale, and then you should be able to find that. And this is what the notice of substitute trustee look like. These are kind of the information that you need to kind of these are all kind of relevant information that you need for every notice. So this is another example. So different notice have different formats. Okay, so the most important thing is the address, the owner, and the trustee information. And then what you want to do is you want to research the property information, how much you can assess it. And then you would need to go to the deed of trust and find the loan information. So it does take quite a bit of time to find that information for every single property. And these are the key information you want, the address, bedroom, bathroom, all that stuff. And on the right side, you have the financial information, the equity percentage, how much loan, what kind of loan it is. All those are like kind of the data that you want before you start working on the information. I'm gonna skip due to our time. Takes about 15 to 20 minutes of research per record, and so we're talking about thousands of records. All right, so it's much easier to focus on our outreach effort. Is kind of our point. So the quality of the list is very important. You want to pay attention to the update frequency, how fresh it is, the extent of research, because you need that information to make further decisions. And then, if you're going to outsource it, the training of the staff and researchers are also very important. So again, the key elements of the quality lead list is very important. So I guess kind of the conclusion here is, yes, you can do it yourself, but there are things that are just not worth it. So especially when they're readily available, it's much easier to outsource that and focus your energy in the marketing and the outreach. Because at the end of the day, we don't really want the data or the lead. We want the deal. because that's what brings us the money and the cash flow. Okay, so we talked about, to recap, we talked about how you can make money, different business models. We talked about how you can find great deals, and then we also talked about where you can get off-market leads. Okay, so a couple of success stories. I already showed these. Success story number 1, number 2, and number 3. Tens of thousands of dollars. These are outsized profits. I just want to maybe make a small disclaimer that not every deal looks like this. These are like really good looking deals. And some deals are smaller. Some deals, if you're not careful, you may even lose money, right? So because there's a risk in real estate investment or any kind of investment activities. So just make sure that you have the right support and you know what you're doing before you get into real estate investment. But these numbers are certainly very, very motivating for me as an investor. So how do I get started, right? I think a lot of common questions is, I learned all this stuff. Okay, how do I apply it? So number 1 is get a pre-foreclosure list. You can get other lists. I find that pre-foreclosure, people are more likely to get traction quickly. And the more quality information, the better. And for Real Estate IQ, we offer a first-hand data. Okay, so we mine the data ourselves. So you get the freshest data available. You get the extensive research. We went to 3-4 different sources to come up with the information to get the estimated equity. And then for a limited time, you still can access this disruptive pricing. Number 2 is to find a mentor or coach that can really hold your hand and walk you through it. You can certainly do it yourself. It's just so much easier to have somebody that we can reach out to, because I think it's easier when we don't have to repeat the same mistakes ourselves. And then when you're really serious about a particular property, you want to be able to do the title research and see all the liens that's on the property. And the cost is between $40 to $75 per property. You may be able to skip that if you're gonna close the property with a title company. They can do some of that research, but you usually need to have the contract in hand and you're ready to close before that happens. So a couple of success story. Justin got new leads, right? A steady flow of influx of new leads to get started. Ismail, an average deal of $8,000. He made 10 transactions already. And then Daryl, got 2 deals under contract. Excuse me, four deals under contract, and about $1 million in that value, and he's expecting to make 10 to 15% of the profit margin. Okay, so if you're interested to learn more, learn more about real estate, ask about our community membership, and what are the next steps. We're here to guide you. And when you're ready to get started, then you can kind of see what the solutions are all about. You can schedule a 30-minute complimentary one-on-one consultation. And if you need help closing your deals and whatnot, we have folks that can partner with you and help you with these deals. And so you just need to send an email out to me. Finally, is a couple of additional things you want to learn by doing. And so we have a online meetup that meet on a Friday base, every Friday at 9:30, where we teach about different ways of investing, and especially if you have a deal that you don't know how to do, you have a lead, we can give you the coaching and what the next steps are to keep the deal moving, all the way where you can close and dispose and make profit off of your deal. Very, very last thing, we hope you learn a lot from this class, and And if you did, please scan this QR code. Give us some feedback. How can we make this event more? How can we make this webinar more valuable for future attendees? And for filling this out, we'll also give you a special gift. Okay, that's all we have. And I want to say best of luck and happy investing. And I'm ready for questions as well, if we have questions. All right. We have a couple of questions here. Okay. Some recommendation ask. Tracy is asking, can you repeat again what we can do as an investor? I have low capital, just starting. I would say wholesaling, it would be a good way to get started. It doesn't require a lot of capital. You do need a small amount of marketing budget on a monthly basis, and you want to budget, I would recommend 6 months, okay, 3 to 6 months. So let's say you have $500 every month to kind of invest into this, right, to build your marketing, and you also need your time, right? I would try to say try to be consistent on a daily basis, because having a habit is very important when it comes to getting something done, getting something happen, and having consistent operations. And so kind of have that in place. So for 6 months, you're just obsessed and focused on creating value and getting your deal. So that would be my recommendation. Really good questions. Okay. Maya, can you explain the fix and flip idea a little more? Do we sell at 70% more or 30% more? Okay. Let's see. So this is our formula. 70%. So basically, when you come all in, you would end up making or putting in $350,000. So the house is gonna have $350,000. You're gonna sell it at 500,000. So you're gonna be selling it. You're gonna be making 30% of the after repair value. Okay, that 30% is how much your kind of gross profit is. And I say gross profit loosely because it's not exactly what it is, but you make that 30%, and that 30% goes into paying your other costs, and then you get your gross profit. What marketing do you use to do on your deals? We are using cold call. So basically, what we do is we sign up for the premium plan that has phone numbers, and also comes with email addresses. So that helps us do the outreach of phone calls and also emails. Some people use mass texting as an outreach. I have also used Facebook ads, and those help. Okay, Craig asking, does forced appreciation still work even though the community is not attractive for investors? Does forced appreciation still work? If the community is not attractive to investors, I think that's pretty broad comments, Craig. I would say if it's not attractive if the community is not attractive, is it one investor, or do you talk to 100 investors and they all say no? Because if that's a no, that would probably mean nobody wants to live there, and the market value is not worth it, right? There's no market value. Usually, your after repair value is based on what houses are selling for in that area, and that's a very it should be an updated market data. And so when that happens, then you have the market value, and then I would say forced appreciation should work. If it's a good deal, an investor should find it attractive. Okay, there's a question about distress offer. Okay, so what's a distress offer? It would when we say distress offer, there's another term called maximum allowable offer. and it's basically the same thing. It's how much we offer to the owner who are distressed, right? Because if they really want to sell at top of the market, they can fix it up themselves. They can sell it in this case at $500,000, but they don't have the cash to fix it up, right? And they're distressed. They need to sell fast, and so that's what we mean by a distressed offer. All right. Okay. So I hope y'all learn a lot. And again, appreciate your questions and you joining us. We do have another event coming up, and that's next Thursday, same time. We have a different format. It's called Ask Me Anything. We have AJ Page joining us, and AJ is a very successful wholesaler. He's from California. I think he hasn't spoken on our platform yet. And so really excited to have him here. He has done a lot of deals in and all kinds of kind of investment strategy. So come prepared if you have questions about creative offers, title, any kind of deal related questions, how to close deals, what are the best software tools to use for your wholesale business. What are the best lead gen techniques? AJ and I have been kind of talking, and we have exchanged a lot of ideas. And he has gave me a lot of tips too on what he's been doing. So I hope you're gonna learn a lot from him next week. Okay, so it's gonna be at 11 a.m. Central Time, basically same time next Thursday, and that's all we got. So appreciate you guys and have a great rest of the day and have a good weekend. We'll see you next week. And remember, if you're really interested in the deal side, tomorrow at 9:30 a.m. Central Time, we have our MAP online meetup. So we can talk about the actual deals and how do we deal with the deals. Okay. All right. Have a great day.